This show got so many issues that I genuinely understand why y'all don't like it. I genuinely understand why y'all said fuck this show. I said fuck this show when I first watched it. That shit was ass. But that's not what this video is about. See, I think I understand this show. I understand Velma, the TV show, not the fucking character. I watched this video with another set of eyes. And despite my tone in certain parts of this video, my feelings for this show might not be as extreme as other people. For y'all who don't know, there's this new show on HBO called Velma. It's a spin-off of Scooby-Doo. Rather than it being in the perspective of the group, it's the perspective of Velma and Velma only. Well, Velma majority. See, in this one, they're not riding around town in a hippie van solving mysteries. They're not doing that shit. If anything, Velma's the only mystery solver in the crew. There's no green van, there's no Scooby, there's no monsters to be unmasked. Hell, there's no Shaggy. They replaced him with Norval, which I don't mind Norval as much, but we're gonna get into him too, because I have some issues here and there. Now, for the past, I want to say, 2 weeks, people have been ripping on this show. Like, folks don't like it. I've seen videos of people saying that this is proof that God hates us. People saying that the show ruined their childhoods. You got mothers talking about their kids can't go to sleep because they let them watch Velma and they got heads falling off and shit and people cussing left and right. Y'all hate this show. And ironically, y'all talking so much shit about it made me want to go watch it. Which I did. Out of all the episodes to be released so far, I watched them. And I'm gonna keep it real, I'm gonna break it down like this. The reason why y'all hate this show so much, I think is because of episode 1. Episode 1, the first 5 minutes shows you everything that the show is gonna be throughout the remainder of the series. Like, y'all know that criticism folks been having about how the show is mad woke for no reason, and that every second or every minute of an episode is like a woke joke after a woke joke. I didn't believe it at first, and then I saw this episode, I'm like, yeah, y'all kind of leaned into that. Y'all didn't help yourselves with that. Whether it be a joke about race swapping in Hollywood or the struggles of minorities in America, commentary about the struggles of women living in a country run by men. Like, this show got all types of quips and maneuvers and jokes based off of that type of commentary. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. Normally that doesn't really bother me. Like, I don't really give a fuck. But this show tries too hard, bro. Like, especially with the first episode, it tries too hard. Like, in the first episode, they open up on a conversation on whether or not sex appeal is used too much for women in Hollywood, and then it transitions to Velma asking Daphne how she feels about race swapping in modern day movies. And then Daphne says something along the lines of, I as an Asian woman see nothing wrong with race swapping because we got white people as Jesus. All types of extra shit, right? And on face value, that doesn't sound bad. Like, as I said, I don't care. My issue with that is the lack of subtlety.
And how do you feel about race-blind casting, Daphne?
Well, as an Asian woman, I, think it's cool. I mean, not to oversimplify a thorny issue, but everyone loves it when white people play Jesus or a professional boxer. Why can't it ever go the other way, right?
Yes. I wasn't expecting such an enlightened answer from such
a bitch.
When I watched that clip, I feel like the voice actor was genuine when she said that. It just wasn't subtle. It feels like telling your audience the punchline to a joke before you actually give the joke out. Like, there's moments like this scene in this show where rather than being clever or trying to hint at it in certain ways, they just flat out say it. It's like you don't have faith in the intelligence of the audience, so rather than being smart and wrapping the joke properly, you just give it bare. And the reason why it kind of bothers me so much is because, like I said, that's just episode 1. Episode 2 is okay, but like episode 3 and 4, in my opinion, I really enjoyed it. It's not fucking GOAT tier comedy, but it's okay. Like, if it comes on, I'm not gonna turn it off. Like, there's an episode, right? This is episode 3, where they're teaching a self-defense class to some of the girls. And there's a scene where Daphne and Velma, they're in the bathroom and they're working out their differences. They're like, hey, I really like you, kind of, sort of. I think you like me, kind of, sort of. But before we go out there and fight each other, let's work out our problems. And Daphne's like, she's like, yeah, you know, you right, man, you right. Let's work this shit out. You and me, we cool. And then the next scene is Daphne punching Velma in her shit.
Same page. Wow, I'm so glad we resolved all our issues before we had to punch each other.
Me too.
And fight to see who's less vulnerable.
Bro, I'm not gonna hold you. That was kind of funny. Cause it's like, bro, we just worked out our different. You said we was cool, and you just duffed me in my chest. What the fuck? Like, scenes like that I kind of like because in a way that was kind of unexpected. Sort of. Like, to me, I think that's a way of kind of telling a joke cleverly or smart or hinting at it. Like, hey, we're working out our differences. You and me, we're cool. And then the next scene, Velma got blood on her shirt because Daphne straight up lied and kicked her in the chest. It's not the greatest form of comedy, but it did what it was supposed to. And I wish more scenes like that were in this show. Granted, episode 4 was a little more forgettable than episode 3, but I do genuinely enjoy that one the same way I did the third one. Like, kind of like episode 3, episode 4 had a scene that I kind of chuckled at, like where a character, Gigi, after watching Velma basically be herself and do her thing, she's like, you know what, if Velma can be herself, so can I. She gives herself a makeover in the bathroom, and she walks out and there's this music in the background like, yeah, this is the new her. She discovers herself, and Norval trips her ass.
If Velma can be herself, Gigi, so can you.
Hey, watch where you're going. Valedictorians have the right of way.
That wasn't that bad. It could have been done a little funnier, but it wasn't that bad. But due to them fucking up the intro with episode 1, a lot of people gave it a first glance and dipped. And I kind of noticed it get a little better after like episode 2, because in episode 2, there's this whole plot of Velma having to help Daphne sell drugs. And Velma tried to do a Uno reverse on Daphne, like, listen, I need what I need, and if you don't help me, I'll just tell your mom, your cop mom, that you sell drugs. And Daphne, she grabbed it and she's like, bitch, I'll kill you. Now, when I first saw that scene, I'm like, oh shit, this show got potential. Like, the delivery of that scene for me was perfect. Delivery aside, I want to talk about Norval. So, Norval is the replacement for Shaggy. Even though they have two different sets of parents and they're two completely different people, they have the same clothes. This is Velma's Shaggy. Now, with Norval, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like him, but there are scenes where they kind of make him acknowledge his obvious differences between him and Shaggy. Like, for example, everybody knows Shaggy's a hippie pothead. That boy smokes. Them Scooby snacks ain't Scooby snacks. They something else. We all know that. But there was a scene in this show where they basically made Norval go like, oh yeah, this thing probably has something to do with drugs, which I don't do. And then he just looks at you for like 3 seconds.
So you're like, oh, the kids come here for the folksy wisdom. But Sophie has no wisdom, just a lot of t-shirts with puns about wine.
Exactly. I think it has something to do with drugs, which I hate.
Not only is that an example of a joke being forced, but it's also an example of a joke being unnecessary that didn't need to be there. Him having a different name and a different background was a separation itself between him and Shaggy. You don't have to vocalize it. And you didn't make it better by giving him the same clothes. Like, I don't have a problem with them adding in a new character. My thing is, if you want him to be new and be an individual, acknowledging the differences between him and the missing character isn't gonna help. Also, they kind of did a Teen Titans Go thing where they made him like the Robin to Velma Starfire, but in Teen Titans Go, Robin is super duper into Starfire and she don't really give a fuck. It's just like that in this one. And I'm not gonna lie, seeing him obsessed with Velma so much kind of threw me off, because other than like Mystery Incorporated, I don't remember Shaggy really showing any interest in Velma, but maybe that's just me. Another thing that they did that I think was kind of unnecessary, it was making Daphne Asian. Now, I don't got an issue with that, but like, dude, what the fuck was the point? You legitimately can't tell the difference between Asian Daphne and white Daphne. The only real difference is their eyes. They bring it up in episode 1 where I think Daphne, no, it was Velma who was like, you know, Daphne, you as an Asian woman, you do this, that, the third. And it threw me off because, correct me if I'm wrong, she looks exactly like Daphne from Mystery Incorporated. This is Daphne and Velma, and this is Daphne and Mystery Incorporated. There's no real significant visual difference. Like, her being Asian doesn't really add anything to the story. Her being adopted adds things to the story, but her ethnicity didn't do anything. Maybe I just got bad eyes, but when I look at Daphne, I don't see an Asian. Now let's get to Fred. Fred, fuck him. I can't fucking stand him. I can easily say he's the most unlikable person in this show. I can't stand his ass, bro. Now, for Fred, they kind of did something weird. In a way, they switched Daphne's background with Fred's. Like, y'all know how, like, in the old shows, mainly Mystery Incorporated, Daphne was, like, super duper rich? She's still super duper rich now. Like, she got Uncle Phil money for sure. But, like, with Fred, they made him the super duper rich one. And he's not just rich, he's like the snobby kind. His butler be wiping his mouth for him, his dad be cutting his food for him, his shower curtains made of gold. Like, he's snotty nosed rich. And to make matters worse, he's a narcissist. He is the complete opposite of the Fred from the original show. Well, shows. Side note, I feel like I should acknowledge my Scooby-Doo was Mystery Incorporated, What's New Scooby-Doo, and a pup named Scooby-Doo. Those are the Scooby-Doos I'm referring to. Those are the ones I grew up with, mainly What's New. So if you're older than that and you grew up with the one in the fucking 70s and 80s or whatever the hell, I don't know. But those are the Scooby-Doos I came up with. So my idea of Fred is very different. Like, dude keeps a mirror on him just so he can look at himself. I don't know where they got the idea of this new version of Fred from. Like I said, I think they switched Daphne's character with Fred and they amplified it more. That's where I think they got the idea from. But wherever it was, I don't fucking like it, man. Fuck him. Straight up, just like that. Now, kind of like I said in the beginning, despite my tone, I did kind of like Velma. I don't think it's as bad as people made it seem. I just think that it tries too hard, you know? I don't think it has a personality. I think if a lot of their jokes were cleverly put and had more sincerity behind them, I think that this show would do better. Like, I genuinely believe this show got mad potential. They just gotta ease up a little bit, you feel me? Like, think about it like this. When I first started my YouTube channel, I sucked. I still kind of suck, but I do better than I did before. It's like you kind of have to give people room to grow. I feel like if they work on some of these issues and they put more thought into the writing, I think it could find the right audience. For now, though, this is what we got. I'm gonna keep watching the show, though. Like, I'm looking forward to episode 5. Like, I genuinely like 3 and 4. But for now, that's all I got, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Reggie TV. I'm kind of trying something new with the whole TV shows thing. Like, I mean, I always done video games, but I would do like news stories here and there. But this shit's really just been video games. But I was thinking about doing TV shows too. I did the thing with the whole 8 episode shit like a couple weeks ago, and now I'm doing this. But yeah, I think I might try the TV show shit. But I hope y'all enjoyed this shit. I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out, man.